Welcome to NYNJPA Weather, your severe weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Well, yesterday at this time, we were discussing a potential disturbance that was developing in the Bay of Campeche, and I warned that this disturbance could develop rather rapidly into a tropical depression and possibly a tropical storm because the upper level winds were becoming very favorable. And when tropical disturbances develop in the Bay of Campeche and the southern Gulf of Mexico, they tend to develop rapidly. And that's exactly what we're seeing now with what we have as Tropical Storm Arlene. Tropical Storm Arlene has 40 miles per hour winds and moving west-northwest at around 8 miles per hour. Arlene is showing significant development as strong convection is developing around the low-level center of circulation. I just want to point out here that these gray splotches that you're seeing, that's the cloud tops, the temperature of the cloud tops at over minus 80 degrees Celsius. What that basically is telling us is that the cloud tops are reaching the highest portions of the atmosphere, which means there is tremendous amount of lift associated with Arlene right now, which of course means that Arlene is rapidly intensifying. Now we're going to have to wait for the latest updates at 11 a.m. to see whether that's actually happening, but all indications suggest that Arlene is becoming far better organized. The convection is rather strong. At the very least, central parts of the Mexican coast are in line for a very heavy rainfall with very gusty winds. Now, right now, the National Hurricane Center forecast does not suggest Arlene will become a hurricane, but I've seen time and time again that these tropical storms and disturbances tend to have a period of very intense intensification during the time period that a tropical disturbance, or in this case, Arlene, Tropical Storm Arlene, moves over the Bay of Campeche and parts of southern Gulf of Mexico because the waters are very warm. So don't be caught off guard if you live along the Mexican coast or you're going down to vacation over the next day or so along the Mexican coast. Arlene will have the potential to reach a very strong tropical storm strength, possibly touching hurricane strength, before making landfall over the central Mexican coast and moving into the interior portions of Mexico and up towards Texas. I do not think at this time that this storm is a direct impact on the United States, but indirectly could produce some rather impressive rainfall amounts over parts of Texas depending on where the remnants go. So that's Arlene, which we expect to make landfall by tomorrow morning around this time. While the tropical Atlantic is starting to act up, weather conditions throughout the northern Mid-Atlantic are actually starting to quiet down. Our cold front is moving off the New Jersey coast and moving through parts of the New York City metropolitan area without much in the way of showers or thunderstorms. Really, the lifting with this cold front starting to fall apart. And as you can see behind this cold front, there are plenty of clear skies stretching all the way back into the western Great Lakes. So what does that mean? Well, that weather is heading right towards the northern Mid-Atlantic, and we will be in place for this afternoon on through the rest of this week. High pressure will be in control and weather conditions will be absolutely perfect. If you go outside right now, you'll notice significant changes in the humidity because humidity is going to be crashing throughout the rest of the afternoon. And we can expect very comfortable weather conditions on through Thursday. So if you have outdoor activities, go out and enjoy them. It's going to be excellent out. Unfortunately, while the dry conditions will remain in place for Friday, the low humidity will not. As high pressure shifts off the mid-Atlantic coast, we will see an increase in humidity and a slight increase in temperatures into the mid to upper 80s for most locations, and then the hazy, hot, and humid weather conditions start to return. We are in a significant pattern change. What I mean by that is the upper level pattern is shifting further to the north. And we can see that with the track of our low pressure systems that were cutting through the Great Lakes and now are remaining to the north of the Great Lakes, basically remaining around central Ontario and towards the Hudson Bay. Well, that means that weather conditions are going to become drastically warmer, well, let's just say hotter, over much of the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area. What I'm expecting is that high pressure is going to anchor itself off of the mid-Atlantic and southeast coast for the start of Friday and continuing on through the entire weekend. Now, notice these little red blotches that are sitting around the central Great Lakes, so right around Michigan, another one around Lake Ontario and central New York. These little mid and upper level disturbances will be the primary precipitation drivers in this upcoming weather pattern that will feature temperatures well above normal and high levels of humidity for the northern mid-Atlantic. Now, the core of the hot and humid conditions, the core of the heat wave that's going to be developing, will clearly be focused to the southwest of the northern mid-Atlantic, over portions of the Mississippi River Valley, Tennessee River Valley, should I say, and parts of southern Ohio River Valley. But we will have some impacts from that heat wave. So no, we won't see 100-degree temperatures, but we will see temperatures in the upper 80s to mid-90s for highs, lows in the upper 60s to mid-70s for lows, and very high levels of humidity. Now, with that high level of humidity, we'll be under the threat for an isolated shower or thunderstorm any afternoon or evening as these weak disturbances move through. The first such disturbance will move through late Saturday into Sunday morning with a few scattered showers, but really not any type of a washout whatsoever. If you have an outdoor event for Saturday night or for Sunday, I really wouldn't worry about it too much. Just keep an eye to the sky. If you start to see clouds increase, that means a thunderstorm will be approaching. Of course, I will update the forecast and send out alerts when necessary. I don't expect any type of severe weather, but they will be a nuisance from time to time in the late afternoon and evening hours. And as we move into next week, this is specifically on July 4th. This is the GFS model guidance from the Penn State E-Wall, by the way. And again, we see another disturbance moving through the northern mid-Atlantic. Could be a shower or thunderstorm here or there on the afternoon, but really they will be widely scattered to isolated. I really don't expect much of an impact on outdoor activities with these thunderstorms. Otherwise, the real driving influence and real story for the holiday weekend into much of next week will be the hot and humid conditions. As you can see, the upper level ridge is dominating much of the east. We have these disturbances moving along the Canadian border that will continue to move from west to east, not really able to dig south, and as a result, we really won't get much of a lifting influence from these disturbances, thus the widely scattered to isolated thunderstorm threat rather than a widespread thunderstorm threat. The main story, once again, will be the heat and humidity. So if you have outdoor activities, be sure to have plenty of water with you, because the combination of these high temperatures in the upper 80s to mid 90s combined with the high levels of humidity will push that heat index close to 100, if not over it, and that could put some stress on children, the elderly, people who might be a little bit sick. So just keep that in mind when you're heading outside from getting ready for the holiday weekend, and if you have work next week outdoors. Have plenty of water, dress with light clothing, and just be mindful of the heat and humidity on your body. Thank you for trusting in NYNJPA Weather as your severe weather source for the northern mid-Atlantic. As always, you can find the latest weather information from NYNJPA Weather via Twitter, Facebook, and of course at nynjpaweather.com. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Have an excellent day.